I need to talk about the belly fat that is literally suffocating your internal organs, and why reaching the age of 60 does not mean a protruding waistline is an inevitable badge of aging. Science tells a much darker story than just aesthetic concern, because this is not about fitting into your old jeans. It is about a silent killer called visceral fat that wraps itself around your liver, your kidneys, and your heart like a toxic blanket. I am a board-certified specialist in internal medicine and obesity medicine, and today I want to show you why you do not need to lace up your running shoes or destroy your joints on a treadmill to melt this dangerous fat. In fact, for many of my patients over 60, high-impact running can actually backfire by spiking cortisol and slowing down your metabolism. We are going to dive deep into the biological levers you can pull to reprogram your body to burn fat while you sit, eat, and sleep. We will uncover why your belly fat is acting like an independent endocrine organ, pumping out inflammatory chemicals that cloud your brain and drain your energy. By the end of this video, you will have a precise, evidence-based roadmap to shrink your waistline and reclaim your metabolic youth without a single mile of running. Stay with me because the last strategy I will share involves a tiny muscle in your calf that acts like a glucose vacuum, and most people have no idea it even exists. Your journey to a leaner and healthier version of yourself starts right now with the truth about your biology. The biology of fat changes significantly as we cross the threshold of 60, and we are no longer dealing with simple subcutaneous fat, which is the soft stuff you can pinch under your skin. We are dealing with visceral fat, which lives deep inside the abdominal cavity and behaves like a foreign invader. Imagine your internal organs are like delicate machinery in a high-performance car, and visceral fat is like a thick, sticky sludge that builds up inside the engine. It does not just sit there, it is metabolically active and secretes cytokines, which are inflammatory proteins that travel through your bloodstream to your brain, causing what we call brain fog or even increasing the risk of cognitive decline. This fat is essentially a factory for inflammation that never shuts down. One of the most insidious things about this fat in men is an enzyme called aromatase. This enzyme lives inside your belly fat, and its job is to convert your hard-earned testosterone into estrogen. This creates a vicious cycle where more belly fat leads to lower testosterone, which then leads to more muscle loss and even more fat gain. This is why you feel tired, irritable, and less like yourself as the years pass. But here is the good news: we can break this cycle without running a single step. Running can be hard on the knees and hips, and it often triggers a chronic stress response in the body that raises cortisol levels. High cortisol tells your body to hold onto belly fat for survival because your brain thinks you are running away from a predator. Instead, we focus on the soleus muscle in your lower leg. Research has shown that activating this muscle through simple seated calf raises can significantly improve glucose metabolism. Think of your soleus muscle as a specialized furnace that burns blood sugar and fats even when you are sitting at your desk. It is a low-intensity, high-efficiency system that does not fatigue like other muscles because it relies on different oxidative fibers. When you perform these seated movements, you are essentially turning on a metabolic pump that clears sugar from your blood without the need for high-intensity exercise. Now let us talk about the kitchen, which is where the real war against visceral fat is won. We use a strategy called food sequencing. If you eat your vegetables and protein first, you create a physical buffer in your stomach. When the carbohydrates finally arrive, the fiber and protein have already slowed down the absorption of sugar. This can flatten your glucose curve by up to 40%. Imagine your blood sugar as a mountain range. We want rolling hills, not jagged peaks. Jagged peaks lead to insulin spikes, and insulin is the primary fat storage hormone. When insulin is high, your body is biologically forbidden from burning fat. This simple change in the order of your bites can be the difference between storing fat and burning it. We can also use a biological hack involving acetic acid, or common vinegar. Taking 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in a large glass of water 15 minutes before your largest meal can temporarily deactivate the enzymes that break down starch. This means less sugar enters your bloodstream and less insulin is required, which keeps the fat-burning gates open. Another powerful tool is resistant starch. If you cook rice or potatoes and then let them cool in the refrigerator for 24 hours, the molecular structure changes. It becomes resistant to digestion in the small intestine and instead travels to your colon where it feeds your beneficial gut bacteria. These bacteria then produce a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. I like to call butyrate high-octane fuel for your gut and your brain. It helps heal a leaky gut and reduces systemic inflammation, which is a major driver of visceral fat. This cooling process turns a high glycemic food into a gut-healing superfood. We also need to look at your blood work through an optimal lens, not just a normal one. Most labs will tell you that a liver enzyme called ALT is normal if it is under 40. But in my practice, I want to see that number under 25. If it is higher, it is a sign that your liver is starting to accumulate fat, which is the precursor to that stubborn belly bulge. We also look at B, which is a much more accurate predictor of cardiovascular risk than standard cholesterol tests. We want your B under 60 to ensure your arteries stay clear while you are losing weight. Do not forget the importance of magnesium. Over 80% of seniors are deficient in this mineral, which is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions, including the activation of vitamin D. If you take high doses of vitamin D without enough magnesium, that vitamin D can actually cause calcium to deposit in your arteries instead of your bones. We want to keep your pipes clean and your engine running smooth. Magnesium or malate are often the best forms for absorption and muscle relaxation. We must also address the silent impact of uric acid and homocysteine. I often refer to these as the smoke from your factory. When your metabolism is inefficient, this smoke builds up and causes internal pollution. High uric acid, often driven by fructose and alcohol, triggers the body to store fat more aggressively. If your uric acid is above 5.5, your body is in survival mode, trying to pack on pounds for a winter that never comes. By lowering these markers through hydration and specific nutrients like tart cherry or vitamin C, you signal to your cells that it is safe to release stored energy. Sleep is another negotiable factor for fat loss after 60. As we age, our circadian rhythms can become fragmented. If you are not getting deep sleep, your growth hormone levels plummet. Growth hormone is one of the most powerful fat-burning hormones we have. To optimize this, I recommend stopping all food intake at least 3 hours before bed. This prevents insulin from competing with growth hormone during the night. Think of it as giving your body a clean window to perform its nightly maintenance and repair. When you wake up, your body should be in a primed state to utilize fat for fuel. If you feel the need to move, use a modified walking protocol. Instead of running, you walk briskly for 4 minutes until you are slightly breathless. Then walk slowly for 3 minutes to recover and repeat this 4 times. This improves your VO2 max, which is the single best predictor of how long you will live. It builds a bigger engine so your body burns more fuel even when you are resting. This interval method is far superior to steady-state walking for metabolic health. We should also discuss the role of protein. Many seniors make the mistake of eating too little protein, which leads to sarcopenia or muscle wasting. Muscle is your metabolic currency. The more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate. Aim for at least 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis. This acts like a thermogenic effect, burning more calories just to process the food. Protein also keeps you satiated, reducing the urge to snack on processed carbohydrates. We can also look at specific supplements like berberine, which many call a natural metabolic master switch. Berberine activates an enzyme called AMPK. When AMPK is activated, it tells your cells to stop storing fat and start burning it for energy. It also helps to sensitize your insulin receptors, making them less like rusty locks and more like well-oiled doors. However, you must always be careful with the quality of supplements. Look for third-party certifications to ensure you are getting what is on the label. Another overlooked factor is the health of your kidneys. We use a marker called C because it is more accurate than standard tests for older adults. If your kidneys are struggling, your body will often hold onto excess fluid and toxins, making you feel heavier and more bloated. Staying hydrated with filtered water and adequate electrolytes is essential for flushing out the byproducts of fat breakdown. Remember that fat loss is a chemical process that requires water. If you are dehydrated, your fat cells will cling to their contents. I also want to mention the power of fermented foods. Adding a small serving of sauerkraut, kimchi, or kefir to your daily routine can diversify your microbiome. A diverse microbiome is linked to lower levels of visceral fat and better appetite control. Your gut bacteria actually communicate with your brain via the vagus nerve, telling you when you are full and reducing cravings for processed sugars. Think of your gut as the second brain that controls your metabolic destiny. If you can master the environment in your gut, the fat on your belly will have no choice but to melt away. We should also be wary of hidden sugars in so-called healthy foods. Many yogurts and granola bars marketed to seniors are packed with fructose, which goes straight to the liver and creates new fat cells. Read your labels and look for added sugars under different names like maltodextrin or high fructose corn syrup. The goal is to keep your insulin levels as low and stable as possible throughout the day. This allows your body to access its own fat stores for energy, turning you into a fat-burning machine. It is also important to manage stress through simple breathing exercises or meditation. High stress levels lead to the production of neuropeptide Y, a chemical that specifically increases the size of fat cells in the abdominal area. By taking 5 minutes a day to practice deep diaphragmatic breathing, you can lower your heart rate and signal to your nervous system that the danger has passed. This simple act can be more effective for fat loss than an hour of stressful cardio. When you lower your stress, you lower your cortisol, and when cortisol drops, the body finally feels safe enough to release the fat it has been hoarding for years. As you implement these changes, do not focus on the scale alone. The scale does not differentiate between muscle, water, and fat. Instead, use a soft measuring tape to track your waist circumference. A shrinking waistline is the best indicator that you are losing the dangerous visceral fat and improving your metabolic health. You might find that your weight stays the same while your pants become loose, which is a sign that you are gaining muscle and losing fat simultaneously. This is the ultimate goal for healthy aging. You want to be strong, lean, and resilient. By focusing on these cellular mechanisms, we are not just losing weight, we are reversing the biological clock and adding high-quality years to your life. It is about being able to play with travel the world, and remain independent for as long as possible. Your body has an incredible capacity to heal and regenerate if you give it the right inputs. It is never too late to start, and the results can happen faster than you think when you stop fighting your biology and start working with it. Every small choice you make, from the order of your food to the timing of your walks, adds up to a massive shift in your metabolic profile. You are the architect of your own health, and you now have the tools to build a stronger, leaner version of yourself. Do not let age be an excuse for poor health. Embrace the science, trust the process, and watch as your body transforms from the inside out. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but in this case, that step does not even have to be a run. It can be a simple seated calf raise or a glass of vinegar water. These tiny levers can move mountains when it comes to your health. Stay focused on the long-term vision of a healthy, vibrant life. You deserve to feel your best at every age, and with these evidence-based strategies, you are well on your way to achieving that. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep prioritizing your metabolic well-being. The silent organ killer does not stand a chance against a well-informed and proactive individual like you. Remember that your body is not failing you. It is simply reacting to the biological signals you are sending it every single day. Losing belly fat after 60 is not a matter of willpower. It is a matter of understanding your internal metabolic chemistry. You have the power to turn those rusty locks of insulin resistance into smooth, well-oiled machinery that serves you well into your 80s and 90s. I want you to start with just one change today. Perhaps it is the vinegar before dinner or the 10-minute walk after lunch to activate that soleus muscle. If you found this information helpful, please share it with a friend or a family member who might be struggling with their health, because early prevention is the greatest gift we can give to those we love. I am a doctor, but I am not your personal doctor, so please take these insights to your own healthcare provider before making any major changes to your regimen or starting new supplements. Tell me in the comments which of these strategies you are going to try first, or if there is a specific blood marker or health topic you want me to explain in a future video. I read your comments, and they help me decide what research to dive into next. Your health is your greatest asset, and it is never too late to start optimizing it for the decades ahead. It is about the quality of your life, not just the quantity of years. When you protect your organs from visceral fat, you are protecting your future self from chronic disease and disability. I am here to guide you through the complex world of medical science with practical, actionable advice that you can use today. Stay healthy, stay curious, and keep pushing for the best version of yourself. I hope this was helpful for you and your journey toward better health. I will continue to bring you the latest evidence-based research to help you navigate the challenges of aging with grace and strength. Thank you for spending your time with me today and for investing in your own well-being. I look forward to hearing about your progress and seeing the positive changes you make. Stay healthy, stay strong, and I will see you in the next one.